Hi, this is Mario Herger from the San Francisco Bay Area. About 4 weeks ago, this Volkswagen subsidiary MOIA introduced in Hamburg their new ID.Buzz AD, a Robotaxi. Like a Volkswagen bus, just electric, just with autonomous driving software and sensors on it. Volkswagen is going to manufacture that car with a capacity of 10,000 per year. And MOIA is planning to introduce those vehicles in 2026 on the roads of Hamburg and Los Angeles. Now, when I look at those announcements, I'm always wondering how much is true, how much is possible here. And I have to say, I've been in the San Francisco Bay Area since 2001. And 2010, I started to look into autonomous vehicles. 2013, I saw my first self-driving vehicle, a Google vehicle on a highway. And since then, I have made many videos on these encounters of 70 plus different manufacturers who develop self-driving cars. I have about 2,000 small videos. And I wrote a book called The Last Driver's License Holder Has Already Been Born, which was published in English in 2019, where I looked closer into electric vehicles and autonomous vehicles. Given this experience and those encounters, I created for myself a few thumb of rules to estimate how far are those companies with their self-driving car technology. And I wanted to talk about those 10 rules and give you then an insight in what it means for somebody like MOIA, where I see them today. So let's start with number one. Number one is don't trust the media. If you hear an announcement and they're telling you that next year it will be a complete robotaxi fleet somewhere and self-driving and so on, you can doubt it. Press announcements are always very optimistic, making sure that the investors are happy, customers are happy. And the media is often not so much into these technologies, so deep involved in these technologies to make a good estimate. So always take it with a grain of salt. The second thumb of rule for me is, do I see those cars and where do I see such test vehicles? Because you need to test them, you need to drive them on the streets. And the first encounters are often on highways. Highways is much easier. There are no pedestrians, there's no cross traffic, there is no intersections, no traffic lights, all this kind of stuff. Although it's a little bit at higher speeds, so that creates their own problems. But often companies start at test driving the vehicles with safety drivers on highways. Thumb of rule number two, how often do I see them? Is it one encounter every 2 or 3 months maybe? Is it all the time? I can't go to my cafe, 20 minutes walk there without seeing at least 3 or 4 cars. So that gives an indication how much is done, how serious these companies are. Rule number 4 is, what about a safety driver? Well, you always have to have a safety driver when you're starting with that, until a certain point where you can take out the safety driver, but that is a license that you have to get from the Department of Motor Vehicles or the corresponding authorities. So typically most of those vehicles still have safety drivers, except somebody like Waymo or somebody like Zoox, who are already operating robotaxi fleets in a commercial sense without a driver. Rule number 5. How many videos do I see on social media, on YouTube, for example? Somebody reporting having seen a car, or somebody reporting from inside the car, riding with it. And that is often also an indication how many encounters you have with that. So how much testing is done by those companies. The more they are testing, of course, the more people seeing those vehicles, the more they may be whipping out their phone and making a recording. Now, not seeing those means also, they may be testing, but on test tracks, but certainly not in the public. Yeah? And that gives an indication how long it takes them to come then to really a commercial and driverless service. Rule number 6, who's developing this technology? So is this a startup? Is this a traditional company, automotive maker? Is this a company such as Google or Apple, which gives us an indication where the knowledge is coming from? Are they more mechanical engineering people, basically bending metals, or are those people from the software industry who know a lot about software development, AI development, that is very important, and so on. Rule number 7, those very companies, how are they positioned? How are they financed? Who's on board? Yeah. Is this just a small startup with a few tens of millions or hundreds of millions of venture capital that they have? Or is this somebody like Google who are printing money, billions of dollars every week, every month, every quarter? So they have resources to pour into that. That means also they have much longer lasting effect. They have more breadth to hold through years of development. And unfortunately, it takes a long time to develop that. Number 8, how is the company communicating about that? Do they just send out glamorous press releases? Do we see blogs where they go a little bit more into the depth, showing safety records, showing how they do airbags in the systems, how they work with communities, how they visualize things, how they make sure a rider feels safe? Is this on a constant base, or is there a once in a while, basically every 6 months or every 12 months, one video that they publish? There may be not much activity going on. Number 9, are they driving driverless and commercial? That means, can I hop on in an empty car, riding along alone and then paying a fee for riding it? Or is it still a driver in there? Is there still a limited use of who can drive with that? Which brings me also to thumb of rule number 10. Who can drive with that? At the beginning, companies often start with their employees and family and their friends to ride, because they need to learn, of course, of how riders are using those. Where are they driving? What are they visiting? How would they make stop? Where do they get picked up, where they are wanting to be dropped off? Yeah? Or are we already in a situation where I can get on a wait list? Do they have an app? And then at the moment I see at certain times of the day I can join and book such a ride, or can I use it all the time? Now, given those 10 rules of thumb that I invented for myself in order to estimate that, you can quickly see of where companies are. So Waymo is already doing 250,000 commercial driverless rides per week in 5 regions. That means over 1 million rides in a week, making money with that. Maybe not yet being profitable, but they're making money, and they have driverless cars, and they have hundreds of thousands of customers in there. So this technology is here, they are there. There's clearly just a path now where they are going to roll out, which cities are being the next, and they're testing in 24 other American cities. So there will be, by the end of this year, probably 10 cities, next year probably 20 cities that we have Waymos. Zoox just started the first public tests in Las Vegas, driverless tests. There may be still a remote operator driving behind that vehicle in order to observe their new vehicle that they have. But we are also on a good road. We see them a lot. There are many of those cars driving around. They apparently have a facility now to build 10,000 of these vehicles per year. So they are on a good path. Let's go to MOIA. They may have their factory, but when they are wanting to start next year, I haven't gotten many videos or nothing at all from people in Germany. Most of the videos on my website are from myself. I recorded them in the San Francisco Bay Area, but I do get videos from my readers from all over the world of encounters of self-driving vehicles that they have seen in their own region. Most of those cars that I see are just still experimental cars. When they are being located, they are on highways often. There's a safety driver. So that's basically the state of the art. And that's often rare. I get every few weeks some pictures and videos. I haven't gotten much from MOIA. I saw their official videos, their official pictures. Of course, there was a peak of videos that was being produced and articles 4 weeks ago when they had this conference and unveiled the vehicle. But that's about it. I don't see those vehicles being videotaped by people, random people on the street. When you look on YouTube, you don't find much. Social media, there's not much either. And even don't even mention from inside. We don't see those videos. And if we see a video like this, we often see just with a chaperone, an engineer from MOIA in the driver's seat, somebody basically making sure that you're not being left alone, so to speak. You're not here in the vehicle to fool around yourself or report independently from that. So all these factors, given those factors, I doubt that by the end of 2026, MOIA is able to have a driverless commercial thing. They maybe have a driver test start, launch there. But then also you have to look who owns those technologies. The Robotaxi is built by Volkswagen. MOIA is a subsidiary. The sensors are coming according to the specifications that MOIA wants, but MOIA is more focused on mobility as a service platform, how to book such a vehicle, how to operate, how to basically observe it, monitor it from remote, and integrate with public transport software. But the core technology, which is the self-driving car technology, comes from Mobileye. Now, Mobileye is an Intel subsidiary. Intel, as you know, the chip maker, is in huge troubles, so financial troubles. They just fired 10,000 people without severance packages. That's very unusual. You don't do that if you're still okay. You do that if you're really desperate to save money. I haven't seen videos of Mobileye regularly coming out showing the progress. So I'm skeptical about their progress, about their state of the art of self-driving, honestly. And if you're relying as MOIA on their technology, I doubt, and you're not, this is not your core competence because you don't own this technology, then I doubt that you're even close to self-driving here. I heard also, and I have to say that, some multiple people in my network, they had a chance to ride on a Mobileye or MOIA. They also know how Waymo works. They have experienced cruise and so on. And they said, well, there's still work to be done. So when you look at that, and if you're a public transport company and they're expecting that now that with MOIA it will solve all your problems to get drivers, you've made the experience with EasyMile, Navia, and so on, the shuttles, how difficult those were. So you will probably always skeptical and careful with this, still remain like that. I don't think that we will see MOIA's driverless and commercial before 2030. It's at least 5 years from now. You want to be careful with that. And we don't even know if this isn't cut, this company, yeah? Every 2 or 3 years we have a new CEO at Volkswagen. The money spent on such technology is too tempting for a CEO to cut and save, increase the shareholder value, get their own bonus up, because it takes years to develop this technology, and then maybe the second or third CEO afterwards then benefiting from those things, while I need to benefit from it now. So that is my guesstimate on how far a company such as MOIA is, based on my thumbs up rule. Of course, if you have different opinion, just comment in the comment section. If you want to read more, I have a website called thelastdriverslicenseholder.com. I have a book on that. Just subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I hope we see you the next time, the next video.